welcome back to the Hoops Lounge, the show that has more jobs security than every single NBA coach. My name is Mark Griffin, aka Montreal Mark. I'm joined by my partners in crime, Mota Elb, the international man of mystery, and Phil Boileau, also known as Sporting Phil. Mota, I'm going to throw the first question to you. We're talking about the NBA coaching musical chairs. They're talking about the chopping block. Quite a few names being thrown around there. OKC, not playing very well against the Spurs. Scotty Brooks, is he going to be there next season?
No, there are no excuses for Brooks. No excuses. On paper, the Thunder are primed and ready to take it all. But he is incapable of containing Westbrook. It's just phenomenal. And it's the fourth year that he's there, and he has the same team. He almost the same experience. The guys are learning, and he still can't do it. And I understand that on the other side you have the mastermind Greg Popovich and the Spurs, but he has no excuses to allow Westbrook sometimes shoot more or faster than Kevin Durant. So if the Thunder don't win, which I'm pretty sure they won't, he's going to be on the next list of unemployed coaches, like Vinny Del Negro and all those guys.
Mark Jackson.
And
he plays Kendrick Perkins. Like for that alone, he should get fired.
Yeah.
Phil, it seems like in the East he has a mirror in Frank Vogel. Do you think he's going through a similar situation?
I think
you picked them going to the finals, the Pacers, by the way.
Yeah, it hurt him now. After that, hold on. I think they have the ability, because if they continue to play half-court basketball and stop transition points and keep the game slow, I think they can take this. But they went away from that, like I was saying in our other show. And I think the most similar thing that people are sleeping on is the similarities between Lance Stevenson and Russell Westbrook. When you watch how Lance acts, goes about things, he's actually kind of a similar player. And Westbrook, Lance has scored over 20 points a game. So him and Paul George, he should be able to get consistent production out of them while feeding his other players.
The difference between Lance Stevenson and Russell Westbrook is that Lance is not the point guard. So Russell Westbrook, he's the first guy that gets the ball, and he's the first guy that will actually shoot the ball or has to pass it. The problem is that he doesn't think pass first. He thinks shoot first, which that's the problem. Kevin Durant, I'm pretty sure that Kevin Durant in the locker room, they are having serious talks in there because
that's why the starting point guard should be Reggie Jackson. They should slide Russell Westbrook to the 2. Exactly. If you look at Russell Westbrook, he's like 6'4", 6'5". I'm sorry, anyone who says he's 6'2", 6'3" is lying. He's long wingspan. He can play the 2.
Exactly.
But I think with Mark's initial question, I think Frank Vogel absolutely. I think he has more to work with. I think the collapse at the end of the regular season, and I think the sputtering against much worse teams. Sputtering against Atlanta. OKC was much more consistent. He's having trouble roping in Russell Westbrook, but aside from that, there's much more consistency to this OKC, play. Given the talent Indiana has, yes, it hurt to lose Granger, whatever, but I think he has too much talent. It should be going on. It should be working better. And you know what? He has to make a call. If these guys aren't working as a group, sit one of them. He hasn't sat Roy Hibbert enough. Again, the same similarity. Kendrick Perkins, Roy Hibbert. Roy Hibbert's a far better player, but both these centers should be sat here and there.
Yeah, okay. Frank Vogel is not making the right choices for his team. He's just playing.
He should start West and Scola at the 4-5 on a lot of occasions to me.
He's playing, but depending on the minutes, depend on the salary, which is at this point you can't do that, and that's what makes the difference.
Talking about salary, fellas, because we're going to jump around the league a bit. I'm going to throw this to you, Mota. So Stan Van Gundy ends up surprisingly in Detroit. Then Steve Kerr shifts to Golden State. Mota, who is going to end up with the Knicks?
I honestly have no idea, but I'm pretty sure that Mark Jackson. I hope that Mark Jackson goes in there because they need a coach that is more of a guy who will bring a team together instead of a tactician, because it's a team that has all the abilities to play. On paper, the Knicks are a complete team. They need probably a center and a good point guard, but mind you,
poor Tyson Chandler, they need a center. Ouch,
but well, he's always injured. So, and if you see some of his pictures, he actually skips all the time leg day. But let's not even talk about this. The thing is, with the Knicks, I think I hope they get Mark Jackson, because he's the guy who brought the Golden State together, and I was really, really sad to see him go from Golden State, because he's the guy who brought them there. It wasn't Steph Curry. It wasn't all of that. It was a complete effort, but it was also the coach who brought them there. So I'm cheering for Mark Jackson to the Knicks.
What about George Karl, though? I mean, he had success with Melo and J.R. Smith in Denver.
Yeah, but he didn't take them all the way to the finals. He took them to the Western Finals, and at the time, Denver had a more complete team. They had a healthier Nene, which he showed in this playoffs, and I'm more leaning towards Mark Jackson, because it will give a fresh new look to the Knicks, just like Phil Jackson is doing.
Apparently, Steve Kerr, one of the reasons he took the Golden State job was because Marv Albert, his colleague, sportscaster, pulled him aside and said, "Steve, things do not end well on the Knicks." So that kind of was sitting in his brain. But Phil, I'm going to throw you a kind of a trivia question to wrap this up. We talked about the instability, the insecurity of jobs in the NBA. Who is now the longest tenured coach in the Pacific Division?
Whew. I'm gonna have to look up which one's the Pacific, to be honest. You want to rattle up some of these some options for me before I get in here?
He's a new kid on the block.
Yeah.
Longest tenured. If you'd said Western, this might have been a bit easier, but give me a second. Come on, program.
Come on, Phil.
I'm trying to think who's in the, because I never break them up that way.
Give him the teams.
You've got
too easy.
Golden State. You've got the Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix, Portland.
Okay. This is going to be Sacramento's coach.
Phil, you're taking too long, man.
Yeah.
I said Sacramento's coach. Whoever that is.
Mo, did you know it?
I'm gonna go. Well, the Pacific Division, I would have went to it. You know what? I'll leave it up to you, Mark.
It's Jeff Hornacek is the most tenured coach in the Pacific Division right now, guys. This is incredible. He's been there just over a year.
I was like the Clippers, Doc. I'm like, that's new. Golden State, they just lost their coach.
Yeah.
Phoenix, I'm like, seems pretty new to me. Yeah. Sacramento, that guy's pretty new. And the Lakers, well, that's a revolving door. I'm like, this is a tough one.
Basically, outside of Greg Popovich and Eric in Miami, there's very little job security in this league. Terry Scott and Dwayne Casey just got extensions, but it's very much musical chairs around the NBA. And I'm going to end it at that. And so always check us out on our Facebook page and on HoopsLounge.com. See you soon in the lounge.
Take care, guys.